Well, hello and welcome back to One Day for Iowa, and well, hello and welcome back to Around the World in 80 Stays. My name is Sean Keene. I host a podcast here through SJMC and also international programs called Around the World in 80 Stays, where I come and I talk to different people, different students at the University of Iowa who have studied and interned abroad and who are willing to share their experiences, because it's a great thing to be able to study abroad. It's a life-changing experience. It's a perspective-changing experience, and I want to be able to continue giving that to everyone here at the University of Iowa. So I have three guests here with me today, and yes, believe it or not, Grace is a guest with us. She is a longtime friend of the show. I'm going to let all of our guests introduce themselves and where they studied.
Yeah, I'm Grace. I have been here all day, but it was also on Sean's podcast. I interned abroad in Rome last summer, and it was the best 8 weeks of my life.
I studied abroad in Valladolid, Spain. Shout out to the Spanish department. I had a wonderful time, wonderful experience, and again, it was one of the best 6 weeks of my life.
Hi, my name is Lucy Hernandez. I interned abroad in Tokyo, Japan.
So this is Jonathan Creech, everyone, by the way. But yes, shout outs to the Spanish department and to all the other departments who are being represented here today, and shout outs to everyone who is donating. But I want to start with just why you guys studied abroad. What was your impetus for studying abroad? Because people always come at it from different angles, and I want to be able to bring that to everyone here, just why. And Grace, how about you start us off, especially as a journalist, as we're doing this for SJMC?
I always wanted to go abroad, but I also knew I needed to have an internship under my belt. So the university has this great program where you can not only go abroad and live abroad, but you can also intern abroad in an English-speaking placement. So my family is Italian, so I knew I wanted to go back to Italy, but I don't speak Italian, so I was like, I need to find something that's English-speaking, and I got a great opportunity, and I got to learn from so many new perspectives, which was my goal. So I really feel like studying abroad was the best decision I could have made.
Yeah, I was actually a little different. I didn't know that I wanted to study abroad until about the semester before it. There was a ton of great opportunities, and after Sean kind of pushed me, persuaded me, and it was a wonderful decision. I had an absolutely wonderful time, learned a lot, got to strengthen my cultural perspective, as Sean touched on earlier, and really just became a better Spanish speaker, which was the goal of my study abroad experience.
And Lucy, before we get to you real quick, Jonathan, I just want to ask you, and Lucy, I'll ask you the same question. You guys, Jonathan, you are in finance, you are in TIPI, you have a very rigid schedule. Lucy, with your being in STEM and Medfield, having a very rigid schedule. How were you guys able to fit that in when you were thinking about studying abroad? Lucy, you can start first, since I kind of interrupted your start there.
Well, honestly, I didn't think I was ever going to study abroad. I'm a transfer student. I actually didn't know that was available to me. But looking into it, I also knew that I did not want to be gone for a whole semester. And I learned that there was a 8-week internship program, which I thought was perfect. Being there for 2 months in the summer was just kind of the perfect amount of time. I was able to come back to school on campus. But yeah.
Jonathan, what about you with trying to fit it into all of your TIPI courses and requirements?
Yeah, my experience was pretty similar. So because it was over the summer, it didn't disrupt any of my typical semester, fall or spring. So it actually helped me rather than hurt me, because I was able to get some of the Spanish credits under my belt. As Sean touched on, there's a lot of credits that I need to be both a finance and accounting major. So being able to study abroad helped me so much more, just to knock out parts to the Spanish minor as well.
So normally what I like to do is I like to kind of continue walking along the path of how people got there, what they were thinking when they got there. But we're a little short on time, so I want to jump into the fun parts of studying abroad. Let's talk about just, crazy stories within the places that you guys were. And they don't have to be crazy and like, whoa, but they can have some life-changing stories as well. And so I think I would like to start with just one, just to kind of, set the tone, put it out there, and then we can all go around and share each other's experiences. And also, I'm guiding and leading, but as you guys know, you've all been on the show before. If you want to say something, if you want to move into any one of these, feel free to do it. But my story was when I was in Santiago, Chile. I studied there for a semester. I took a trip to Lima, Peru. I had never been to Peru before, And I was like, well, let me see what's going on around there. And let's flash back to my first semester freshman year. I was taking a Spanish class. Once again, shout out the Spanish department. And in the class, we had to do a kind of like a review or like a writing of a museum. We were assigned a museum within Latin America. We had to write about it. And then what we had to do was we had to go to the museum's restaurant menu, pick out what we wanted to eat, write about, what looked most interesting, and then we had to put that into the paper. So I got assigned some random museum, and I looked at the food, and I was like, yeah, this looks good. And then I did the assignment, didn't even think about it. I'm never going to do that. We go forward a year later, I'm about to go into Lima, and I'm looking at stuff to do. I love museums. I'm a big museum guy. I'm super big nerd when it comes to that. And I see this one museum, I'm like, man, why is this museum so familiar? I to my knowledge, I've never seen it before, and I see that they have a restaurant on their website, and I'm like, oh shoot, wait, let me look, and I click it, and I see the menu, and it's the same thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought I would have the opportunity to do this. So I get to Lima, I go down, I go to the museum. The museum is wonderful. It's the Museo del Arco. It's an anthropology museum. It is one of the best museums I have ever been to, and I go through, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm hungry. Let's go eat. And so I went into the museum restaurant. I knew exactly what they were like. Do you need a moment with your food? I said, I already got it. I've been on this a year in advance. I got the food, and I got like just the whole setting. Being able to sit there and to realize something that I had written about, thought, I'm never gonna ever be able to have the opportunity of this. And just a year later, putting myself in these positions to do it, it was such a good meal too. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And I wrote to that professor. I don't really have a relationship with this professor, just post that class. And I wrote to that professor, and I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I just wanted to let you know that this assignment that you did, this random assignment, put me in the position to do what I'm doing right now and to enjoy this experience even more. And she wrote me back, but that was a wonderful full circle moment for me. And that to me is the power that study abroad can bring, and some of the openings that study abroad can bring. And if you really take everything as a learning experience and realize you have a lot of steps that have brought you to this moment, that's what study abroad can do for you. So that was long-winded, and that was more heavy-hitting, but I want to bring it to you guys. What are some stories from your study abroad experiences that you want to share? And anyone can go. And if you need to take a sec, I can keep going too. It's okay, but
I can start. I got to intern at Vatican News in Rome, and that was right after when the new Pope was elected. And like I said before, my family comes from a really small town in Italy. And so for me personally, that was just super special. I got to witness the culture, be a part of the culture. And I might be biased, but I just think Italy is one of the most welcoming places I've ever been. I love the people, I love the food, the culture. But getting to witness something like that with the new Pope, being elected and seeing the people come together as a community was really unique, and I'm never gonna get to witness that again. That's just never gonna happen. I made so many friends at Vatican News that I still keep in touch with today. I got to publish articles. I got to interview the guy that plays Jesus in The Chosen. I got to do so many things that I never would have ever thought I got to do. But
she got the qualifications from Christ himself.
Yeah, I had literally got to interview
one.
Jesus, which was so wild. But this isn't really a story, but I guess the greatest friends that I have ever had have come from that 8 weeks. I didn't know them. Some of them went to Iowa, some of them didn't. But besides my friends on campus, those are my go-to people. And we have visited each other 4 times. People flown on planes to go visit each other 4 times in less than a year. And and one of them had never even considered Iowa before, and is now coming here for grad school because of study abroad, because he met us, because he, so.
Shout outs to the grad college.
So I just think not studying abroad is when people are considering it, I'm going to tell you that you need to do it. It's not just you should, it changed my life. It seriously did. And I really think everyone. Now I'm heavily considering taking a job overseas after I graduate because of this opportunity. So that's kind of my story.
Do internships, meet Christ, change the world. That right. Jonathan, Lucy, what do you guys have for us?
Yeah, I could take it away next. So I didn't have exactly a full circle moment like Sean, but I did have a pretty wild experience myself. So I was in Valladolid and I was going to visit Valencia for the weekend. We had an extended weekend. Now, I could have had a direct train all the way to Valencia, but I decided to be a little bit economical and take a connecting train. Now, Sean, you may know, but Madrid is one of the most intense, chaotic train stations, maybe in the world, I've heard. And this was in a foreign language for me. So at the time, I thought it was a great idea to save some money. In the moment, it may not have been. So I got out and I was kind of asking for directions like, ¿Dónde está? Where is this train? And kind of like showing them my phone. They told me to like go up some flights of stairs, take a right, whole bunch of crazy directions. I eventually got it done, made the train on time, and now it's a fun story that I have looking back upon, and one that causes me, I don't know, a lot of joy, but a lot of suffering maybe in the moment. So.
I have a unique experience. I don't know any Japanese. I did intern in Tokyo, Japan. I never even considered, any Asian country, but I saw that Tokyo was an option to pick, and I went with it. Like I said, I don't know any Japanese. I did struggle at first. The train stations are hectic. Our internship. So my ride to my internship to work was a 2-train ride, so I would have to get up really early in the morning, get to work on time. I would be squished. I don't know if anyone has seen those videos on TikTok or Facebook about how squished those trains get, but it's real and it's something I won't forget.
Did you have to like get into like your boxing stance so you could get enough space to breathe?
Yes, and sometimes those trains get really bumpy, so you will fall. I did fall only one time, and that was probably the most embarrassing thing of my life, but it's in a whole different country, so it's fine. But I got that experience of, I come from a small town, so going to Tokyo, one of the biggest cities in the world, was definitely a life-changing event, and I would recommend interning or studying abroad to anyone that's even thinking about it.
Well, Lucy, I'm going to keep you with that one because you brought up a good point. First of all, if you can navigate public transit in a different country where you don't speak the language, you can do anything. I think all of us can speak to that. That is all of the reels that you see of that. It's 100% true, and once you have that feeling, it's amazing. But Lucy, like you said, being from a smaller Iowa and then going to literally the biggest city in the world, and for all of you guys too, in just a place that's so different, what was the culture shock like for you? Because I think that's something that really scares a lot of people when they want to try to go abroad, is the culture shock. So I'll start with you again.
So what was shocking for me, I've always kind of seen Japan to be very clean and like very much, they have their things together, as in like when it comes to walking or going up an escalator. But when it comes to like walking, they walk in one way, the other people going the other way. You don't, it's just so amazing to see how easy it was to like navigate myself through that big city because everyone knows how to move. I did have to adapt really quickly because they walk really quickly. But it was just a different experience because here in Iowa, I don't have to ride a train. I have ridden a train before, but it was just something that was an amazing experience. And would I do it again? Yes, but it's something that I won't ever forget.
So you deal with trains or you don't go on trains in Iowa, but instead you have to deal with slow walkers, because we all know about them walkers on campus. Come on now. So Japan sounds like a dream when it comes to that. I got places I gotta be. Jonathan, talk about your culture shock moments.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was exactly a shock, but definitely within the first day, the first week, there were a lot of adjustments that I had to make. Like, we eat dinner so late in Spain. It's typical like 11 p.m. That's a typical bedtime here, in Iowa City, US, but that is dinner time in Spain. And also no breakfast. That was a huge adjustment for me. So I would have a late dinner, no breakfast, go off to classes, and then have my first meal as lunch. while here I typically eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's a lot of small things, but it definitely does add up, and I'm very grateful that I got to experience and try out a different lifestyle and incorporate that here now as well sometimes.
Grace, what about you?
Yeah, we had to take a culture class on top of our internship in Rome, and our advisor, who is lovely, told us that they have a slogan in Italy, La Dolce Vita, which means the sweet life. And I know that they move a little slower there, but when I tell you they move slow, like nothing is rushed. Everything is slow, and I am a very fast-paced individual, and so
You're doing this today. Like, we got to get it
yeah,
done. We
like
got to get the
nothing.
time right.
There's no time constraints. Everybody's late to everything. Dinners are 3 hours long. So at first, I was really taken aback, and I was like, "Oh man, this is not my cup of tea." But I grew to really love it, and especially at if Italy moves slow, the Vatican moves like anciently slow. Like they told me they had typewriters, like they were typing on typewriters till like the 90s there. Like they are very behind, very slow.
But they're on God's time.
Yeah, like they just don't care because they have no competition. They are the Vatican News, so they can do and publish whenever and whatever they want. But it was kind of nice having that change of pace, and I mean, I got to travel everywhere, and everywhere was that way in Europe. It's just slower. And Spain is slower, and it's kind of a nice change of pace.
Yeah, the slowness, like the malleability of time, once you step out of the U.S. is so apparent. I don't know how malleable was it for you? Because like in Japan, you got to be like efficient, like they just are efficient. But was there that like rush, or could you still feel that there was like the fluidity?
Yeah, no, I felt rushed all the time. I'm a slow walker, sorry, but it was really hot and humid there when I went, and I was trying to not sweat so much so I didn't end up like all sweaty at work. But yeah, I had to, pick up the pace most of the time. But that's kind of how they are, and I was going to adapt to what they're used to, and if I had to walk faster, I was going to walk faster.
They ain't going to get in the way. So Grace, you were talking about 3-hour-long dinners. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about food, because I always like to bring in food to these. I already shared kind of my food story, but let's talk some just, fun food, some crazy food. What were you guys eating over there?
Carbs. I ate a lot of carbs. Literally my group would always take so long to pick where to eat, but every single restaurant's the exact same menu in Rome. There's no variety. It's pizza and pasta. It's delicious, but like if you want something else, you're sorry. Like you can't get that. Someone tried like door dashing like a Mexican. It was so bad. Like you just can't really like have that. But we got our variety on the weekends when we like went to other places. But I didn't really eat anything that was like, they love anchovies. That was kind of a shock. It's kind of gross. Like I don't like anchovies on pizza and pizza sauce, but nothing I ate was too like out of the ordinary. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I never had anything that I'd consider super crazy. I did have my host mom, so I lived with a host mom during my stay. She once made us like a fish with all the bone in it, and I've never had that before. It's like I was eating the bone, like not swallowing, but I had to like pick it out of my mouth. It was a huge mess, and she was kind of laughing at me a little bit, but I guess that kind of goes back to the culture shock and like getting used to that. But that was probably the most interesting thing that I ate there.
They're already giving you your toothpicks.
That's right. Yeah, built in.
The most interesting thing for me was experiencing those convenience stores like 7-Eleven, Lawson's. I was there every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. They had literally everything that you see like on TikTok or Reels or anything about those like weird and cool foods. They were there, and I missed so many of those foods. They had like sushi, they had, sushi. They had just literally everything that you see on those videos was in there, and I went crazy for a lot. Like, I was going to eat everything because I knew I wasn't going to be back for who knows when. So.
Did you ever get in on those like vending machines that have literal meals in them? You ever get in on that action?
I did not, but I found a vending machine that had it was orange juice, and it like squeezed the orange right in front of you, and like it was like really cool, and it was really good too. And it was like on the street somewhere. So, and that's like another thing. There's vending machines literally every corner. I don't know who goes and stocks those at like the ones in the middle of nowhere, but they're in every corner.
I want that so bad sometimes because I've seen like, the reels and the TikToks of just like, here's a whole entire meal that you can just stick a coin in a vending machine, boom, hot, like right there. I love La Dolce Vita. I love like sitting for the 3-hour kind of thing. But if I can get a bowl of udon in 5 seconds out of a vending machine,
1000% agree. It's a way better use of time. I agree.
I need that. So I'll bring in a couple food stories of my own. I don't want to say that I'm like a super adventurous eater. Like I've got some boundaries, but if the opportunity's there, we can have some fun with it. Because when else am I going to be able to eat this stuff? So when I was in Chile, I had llama steak. I knew that you could get it. I just didn't know where to find it. And when I found it, it was really good. It was like lamb, but it was very brown. You can't really see, but like for all of you here, it's like the tile color. It wasn't like a cooked brown. It was like that tile color of brown, but it was fine. I didn't die. So llama steak was cool. And then when I was in Spain, I was up in Galicia. I don't know if you ever went to Galicia. Northwest Spain, right above Portugal. They're known for octopus. And like, I don't mind the concept of eating octopus, but also like it's the concept of eating octopus. So I'm kind of like, what is this gonna entail? And they were like, you gotta try this dish. It's our famous octopus and it's with cheese. I'm like, I don't know if I would put cheese on octopus either. So I'm served a tentacle as big as my shoe, covered in cheese and some saffron powder. I'm like, this is gonna go one of two ways. This is going to be amazing, or I'm going to chuck this thing back in the sea. And I was eating it, and it was surprisingly really good. And, if you just block out the fact I'm eating something that has cheese on it, not the fact I'm eating an octopus with it. But I'm going through it, and about halfway, I had to stop because it was so salty, I thought I was going to dry my stomach out. And I told them, I was like, look, I'm an American. I know what it's like to eat salt, but my God. And yeah, didn't have that again. And then in Spain, I ate like a soup thing that ended up having pig ear in it. I did not know that there was pig ear. I was like, man, I ain't never had meat that was this chewy before. And then they told me afterwards that there was pig ear in it. I was like, that seems about right. So yeah, like I like going after those experiences, but it's always like a one-time thing, because otherwise, if there's a good pasta place around, I'm gonna have the pasta. If I can get something from the vending machine, just as long as it's not an American food. If I can get the tapas, I would kill for some tapas again. Like, I would prefer those when I'm eating, but I don't know how much time we have here, but I want to bring us to what is one thing that you learned maybe about yourself, about it within your study abroad things, but also just what is some advice that you want to give to people who are considering studying abroad?
Yeah, I can start. What I learned from my experience was that I'm able to adapt. That was kind of the goal, was to go to a country that I know nothing about, only see on like the internet, and be able to adapt. I was able to adapt very quickly, even though it was, like I said, fast paced. But any advice that I would give would be to just go ahead and do it. Respect the culture. Kind of put yourself in their shoes, and really just try your best to see what everyone else is doing, and then kind of just following what they're doing. That's the way I got through it.
Yeah, I could go second. I'd just like to second that you can do it, you can adapt, and most importantly, change can be a good thing, and you can really learn a lot about yourself by studying abroad. So I'd highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Change can be a good thing, and there's a lot to learn about yourself whenever you do it. So Grace, if you want to bring us out with this one.
Yeah, I think one thing that I learned is that I can do it. I was really nervous at first, but that was the best decision I think I've ever made. And I would do it. I mean, my biggest regret is not doing it again and again and again. Like I totally would if I could. And my biggest piece of advice would be just to say yes to every opportunity. If someone wants to go with you to, a city for a day, just go. Like, why not? You never know what will come out of it. And be open to new friends. Like I said, it was just wonderful. But thank you guys so much for being on. This was wonderful. Everyone tune into Sean's podcast, Around the World in 80 Stays. I'm assuming everybody's been on the pod. Yes. Okay, so you can learn more about everybody's experiences. But thank you guys for your time, and please donate so that we can have these amazing opportunities. Study abroad is once in a lifetime, and you'll never be in your 20s and able to, you know, travel around the world with some of your best friends. So stay tuned. We've got another short video, a little short break, and then we'll be right back.